Welcome back, my mid-tier Tennos. I'm overjoyed to see him being qualified for Master Rank test number 40, and congratulations on the same. I'm going with the typical setup from the previous Master Rank test. Unquestionably, you are getting very creative with the setups based on your telling me experience. As a sage without a beard, I entreat you to go with the Spartan setup that you have in our setup. Without further ado, it's Spartan time. Let's roll. After this, Lotus Wave. And we are in. In this wave, we have to eliminate 10 enemies. Now, I'll be taking my sweet time to complete this test. In the meantime, I'll show you my creative way to get this test done. First up, Korra. I'm going with the mid-tier mod frame setup. Once in the test, press your fourth ability and use it in the center of the tile set. Friendly tip, the spawn time makes the difference in energy being used in this test, so I advise you to time your fourth ability prudently. Voila, you're done. Frost fans, you're next. A similar mod setup has been followed to get this test done restfully. After entering the test room, observe the enemy spawn and then utilize the fourth ability accordingly. Nevertheless, you need to be mindful of timing your ability well based on the enemy spawn. Patience is your best friend and test is frozenly served. Next up is Rhino. This mod setup is fully focused on fourth ability and basic duration is justified for this test. Unlike me, you need to activate the third ability first and then use the fourth ability to stop. Mindful tip, take out ancient and extremist enemy with your weapon. Nevertheless, use a flux rifle like me to get through quickly in the worst cases. Voila, your test is done. Francis O'Brien, you're up next. A similar mod setup has been applied. In this test, you can use fourth or third ability to get this test done effortlessly. Upon my usage, I found that third ability is a restful way to go and you're done with radiation effect. Next up is Tynax. Similar mod setup has been applied, but slight focus on duration and efficiency. After entering the test room, immediately activate the third ability and use the fourth ability upon 2 or more enemies after they spawn, as it would make your test effortlessly done. Wobbin is up next. Same mod setup has been applied on this frame. You enter the test, press the first ability 4 times, and let it do your dirty work with ease. Next up is Zephyr. Similar mod setup has been applied, except for one missing in my case, but you can fill the blank space as per your creative thoughts. Once you enter the test room, use your fourth ability to spam tornadoes to get the test done effortlessly. Next up is Banshee. Similar mod setup has been applied. After entering the test room, you need to be mindfully efficient to use the fourth ability with more enemies to be exterminated at the same time. Otherwise, feel free to use the weapon of your own accord and your ears are safely sanitized. Next up is Limbo. A similar mod setup has been applied. By entering Limbo's swift plane, aka the passive ability boosts energy in your energy pouch. Time well to execute the fourth ability once and switch it off after a few seconds. Next up is Wisp. Similar mod setup has been applied. After entering the test room, you can focus on third or fourth ability on your accord to get your test done effortlessly. Next up is Syrian. A similar mod setup has been applied. You need to spam your first ability and Toxicity will erase all the enemies from the tile set, including your pessimism. Next up is Mesa. A similar mod setup has been applied. Just use the aimbot as it has been warranted by Digital Exchange. You're safe in the future. Cheers. War fans, you're up next. A similar mod setup has been applied, but you can replace continuity with streamline based on your playstyle. After entering the test room, press your fourth ability to electrocute and anguish all 3 factions to give a taste of the delight when they watch your test video on YouTube. Last up is our favorite frame, Mag. The mod setup is purely focused on first and second ability. After you enter the test room, you can focus first ability to pull and press the second ability to place a bubble on the enemy. Then use your weapon to shoot on the bubble and rest will do its work effectively. Furthermore, you can just spam first ability only to get the test done. Friendly tip, the bubble doesn't affect the XMS units, so take them out first when they spawn. Lastly, Tennos, who love to use the fourth ability often, press the third ability first and then the fourth ability last to exterminate enemies with ease. Tennos, all these mods can be acquired faster and max easily than the custom mod to get on with the game and can be used from low to mid-tier missions effortlessly. Not only that, they'll be fruitful on the high missions too. With that, my test is done and you shall have your appreciation by Her Majesty early than me. See you on the next test. It's good to see you qualified for Master Rank 15. Here's a spoiler alert for the lovely spoiled minds. Positively, the minimal setup has come to an end with this test, as the future mastery test runs have become more challenging comparatively. Nevertheless, I'll be going with this setup as a grand finale in this test. We are in, and now it's time for me to roll and show them what I actually can do next test. In this test, you'll be given 3 capture locations that are A as in alpha, B as in Bravo, and C as in Charlie, respectively. You need to stand at the location till you reach 100% of each location to be captured, which favors your wins percentage against your opponent. The percentage bar is located under the minimap. The Tenno faction is us, and the opponent is Grenier. I've decided to capture Alpha first, as Greniers have besieged Bravo and Charlie points. Once I capture the Alpha, I'm going for Bravo first to take out the Grenier who is solely focused on hacking the console, which is the pivotal factor to capture the points quickly and take care of the rest. Nevertheless, you will gradually notice that I'm still focused on exterminating Greniers who are hacking console to prevent them from capturing locations from a distance or bold-facedly doing in front of me, which gives purely an upper hand against Grenier in the winning percentage. That said, whenever you see an opponent capturing a console, the capture point starts blinking. For instance, when a B point is blinking, your opponent is hacking the console in the current state to get the point captured. In all cases, all you gotta do, reach the point immediately and take out the opponent who is hacking the console. Positively, you will see yourself capturing the points faster than me in no time comparatively. Alternatively, you can go for max range and stealth pods to have an effortless edge with Volt or Equinox frames in my recommendation. Regardless, the best way to go with your playstyle and creativity. Full power to you, Tenno. By now, you might realize this is an interception test and you are right in your thoughts. Handful tip. During the co-op missions with whomever you play with, don't expect anything from others. Instead, trust your experience, Tenno. You know wherever you can handle it, kudos to your positive thought and action while having no regrets, and because I have done the very same. Before this test ends, I'm sharing a small lesson that I have learned on my first attempt at this test. When I captured all 3 points under the false impression of succeeding safely, since the Greniers had captured more than 70%, and I saw myself struggling extremely harder, which turned me to the fact, how does the whole scenario change in a few minutes? From the failure on my first attempt, I learned to keep my mind in the present first and observe my surroundings consistently till the test ends. That's what I have done here and didn't underestimate the test, which led to refreshing confidence back in me. With that, I have truly enjoyed playing with minimal setup, and Her Majesty would commend your efforts. I'll see you on the next test. Welcome back, Tenno, and congratulations on qualifying for Mastery Rank test number 16. I have required Equinox frame for this test as it does an incredible job of checking out enemies with ease in my experience. In my mid-tier frame setup, I've taken a personal project as my auto mod. Instead, you can replace it with Energy Siphon or Shield Disruption. I decided to go with an augmented mod called Peaceful Provocation, which can be acquired from Arbiter of Hexes and New Locker. That said, you might have one question in your mind: why is Specular Growth added to my setup? The answer is simple, as the mod is self-explanatory, and feel free to do the same for your joy. On my primary weapon, I decided to go with a Flux Rifle while focusing on status chance. Furthermore, I've applied Flux Overdrive to boost the status chance of my gas setup against Corpus. Neat and clean, I know. I'm carrying a Fat US setup for secondary melee, as you will find the reason why I opted for it, and leave that section to your positive imagination. With the showcase of my setup out of our way, let's roll in. We are in, and allow me to simplify Her Majesty's words in one line. You need to protect the crypod for 3 waves only. In other words, it's a defense mission, and evident enough, isn't it? I'm afraid I have to exit my narrative commentary in this test and ran out of experience steps to offer, while considering the fact you're already well versed with the defense mission types, as I have full faith in your experience. Until then, enjoy listening to the serene background music with joyful gameplay for your eyes to feast upon, and I will see you on the next test. Without further ado, let's dive into Mastery Rank test number 17. Considering the difficulty in mind, I tip my hat to the devs for making this test extremely challenging. Let's get serious, Tennos. You're most welcome to copy my non-corrupted setup, aka mid-tier setup, and I highly recommend going with the Equinox as I do for your comfort. For my primary weapon, I have decided to go with my Flux Rifle with a wireless status charge spell. As for the secondary melee is the least of my concern for my playstyle. Let's get started. In this test, you need to exterminate 30 enemies swiftly before the timer ends by keeping your mind in the present. Pardon my lousy habit of activating the third ability first. First melee the AWP and then activate the fourth ability as I did. Having said that, I have put my entire focus on meleeing the AWPs while the Equinox fourth ability assists me in exterminating the Infested in its range. Positively, I would consider it as teamwork given the test is quite edgy with the conditions. More importantly, I insist to practice well before you head for the main test with a good presence of mind to get it done in one run. That's it. I don't wish to distray you with my commentary and take my humble exit. With that, I have my faith in your skills to get this one run positively with flying colors towards the end, and I will see you on the next test. Without further ado, let us dive into Master Rank test number 18. I've equipped Equinox as my frame and setup remains unchanged. For my primary, I have equipped Flux Rifle with gas setup. For secondary and melee, both the setups are pretty much fabulous in every regard. So let's roll it. After this loading screen, we are in this test. You'll be defending some weird critter for 5 waves against Corpus, leaving the cryopod like a princess forever, ever, and never. I'll leave it at that. In other words, it's an extensive version of Master Rank test number 16. Anyways, moving along, you'll be confronting heavy risks from the second wave onwards. Nevertheless, my recommended frames for this test are World, Octavia, Warban, Frost, Equinox, and Protea. Ultimately, your creativity will prevail and credit you forever positively. With that, I will leave you with my elegant defense against Corpus with serene background music, and I'll see you on the next test. without further ado, let's dive into Mastery Rank test number 19. I'm going with radar and sprint mods. For my melee, I'm going with Rota Tiger. Nevertheless, you can go with your creativity based on your experience. Let's roll in after this loaded screen. And we are in. In this test, you'll be doing stealth takedowns on Greniers with only melee weapon. So you'll be starting with the first takedown on this Grenier, and test has begun. Now move to the right, make sure you jump and glide accurately as I did, and swiftly taking down the unflinched Grenier. And you go for the next Grenier that is behind the wall as like I did, and you do a deadly takedown. My next victim will be the Grenier who is on the ramp and taken out like an Assassin's Creed player. I mean, I did, right? I have not played the game, but definitely I'll try to in the future. Now, we gotta be patient here. Watch the enemies on your radar. So once they move to the other side, go for it. Swiftly, because we don't have time, because as the Greniers will notice you if you waste your time more than a minute, or less than a minute actually. So what I'm gonna do here, just go behind, because they're really oblivious to what I'm doing. Especially this Grenier is even more eccentric in my opinion. I don't even have much words to describe. So let's see what's that. Now when you come to this ramp, make sure you go behind it, because when you go directly or jump on it, the Grenier will get alarmed. And that's what I have learned from my experience in 20 plus trials. Now then swiftly take out the Grenier and assassinate it. Next target will be again on the top floor, not literally on the top floor, we'll be going on the second floor. And this is the Grenier. You have to be very careful. Again, make sure you go behind it and then do a takedown. Don't jump on it, okay, because that will alarm. So you melee the op, of course only melee can be used, and this is the last Grenier. With that, the whole Greniers has been assassinated elegantly by me in my 20 plus attempts. It's totally worth it. The patience has truly been paid off. Having said that, I'm taking out the leftover ops in order to release the target or the cryopod sleeper, and we are done with it and heading towards the extraction point, though the target will not come along with you, it'll get teleported. So don't worry about that at all. With that, Her Majesty has finally acknowledged my elegance in this test, and you will have your commendation after you complete this test successfully. Until then, I'll see you on the next video. Farewell, Tennos.